Hello everyone, I am the TCG Gimmick and welcome back to my channel. And in today's video, in today's video we're going to be taking a look at this video by Brandon Martin. I believe that would be Martin, just with a Y instead of an I. About the turning a Pokemon collecting into a career. In this situation, because specifically for what I do, I'm not just going to look at strictly as Pokemon. I'm going to look at this video as TCG in general and also sports card collecting in general, and going and using all of this information. So basically I'm gonna look through the video, and we're just gonna watch like little clips here and there of each of the steps, and then I'm gonna talk on my behalf of where I'm coming from as somebody who's starting off as like on the bottom, or not technically on the bottom since I've been doing this for like about a year now, but who's at least been doing it, or at least still relatively low, and there's still a lot I could do to scale and stuff like that. And so I thought it'd be kind of cool to walk through, kind of get it from my point of view and see what my answers kind of are and what I'm doing and what has been working out for me as of right now. So if anybody who's new in the hobby kind of finds my video, they can kind of get a look at both videos, his and then like snippets of his, but then my own kind of take to kind of see maybe where they should be at like a beginner's level, like just starting off, or like then doing it for like a little bit of time, then to kind of like grow. So like I said, we're just gonna look at each step, and then like I'll play for like the first few seconds of him talking about the step just to kind of get an idea of what he's talking about, and then I'll cut it and I'll say my piece. So here we go, step 1.
Steps on how you can do the same thing. Starting with an important number 1, find your why. Why do you want to get into this business? Because I'll be honest with you, it's not all sunshine and ho-oh rainbows.
Oh, that's a funny little pun there. But the why is very important, and what he does actually continue to say in this section is, if your reasons for doing it is to get rich, it's just not going to happen. It's not a good reason to get into the business. Now, can you get rich? Can you make money off of it? I hate to say get rich, but can you make money off of it? Yes. This is a business that you can make money off of. I guess the word rich is kind of hard to put an ideology behind it. It's to what level is rich to you. People do like multi-million dollar, like they run multi-million dollar businesses for collectible cards. Like it is possible. Does that mean they themselves are multimillionaires? No, because usually these are businesses that are paying for other employees, distributors, and everything else. So their take home is probably significantly less. But they're still, I would say, probably well off, at least in the 6 digits, which is good. Maybe it's like $150,000 a year, $160,000 a year is what they're able to pay themselves, which isn't bad. So is it possible to have good livable wages off of it? Yes. Is that my own personal goal? No. My own goal as of right now, and as of starting out, I think this is what most people's goal should be, is find a realistic number in your mind that you would like to make per month and what you would like to do with that number. So my realistic number is I would like to have a take-home profit, money that I can put back into my own personal life and I don't have to put back into the business in any way, shape, or form, would be about $100. So I would like to be able to make around $300 per month, in which 100 of it I could take, 100 of it or 150 of it I could put back into the business, and the rest would go into like material cost. And that would be the most like ideal situation. And then the money I put back in, have that slowly kind of scale me up. And so I wanted, like, my first main goal is to be able to make $300 a month, in which I could put 100 of it off into my personal life, no matter what that means, whether it goes into savings, whether it goes for me to have dates with my wife, or it goes towards buying things like extra like treats for my kids, whatever that may look like. That would be, that's kind of like what my goal is. And so right now, what I have done is, over the past about year, which I didn't spend the entire year working, I did take a hiatus for about 6 months or so. For a little while, I took a break, and so probably I've been selling for maybe about 7, 8 months in total, and I've done fairly well. But it's enough for me in which I can kind of dip my toes in, kind of figure some things out on like one avenue, and that avenue was TCG Player, which we'll talk about a little bit more down the road. But as of right now, my kind of goal starting off would be $100 a month that I could take off to the side. Like, so, like, I guess the goal is to make $300 a month. Whatever that like breaks down to is whatever that breaks down to, but you have to find your own type of goal. And what I would suggest is find a reasonable goal. Maybe starting off like your first month or two, maybe just make your goal hitting X amount of sales, you know, or having X amount of cards posted, you know. Maybe your goal is, I want to have 1,000 cards posted each month, and I want to try and do 20 to 30 sales and get like a 95 to 100% positive feedback rate, you know, and then go from there. And then, like, once you actually start seeing consistency in your sales, and you can be like, okay, you know, I'm averaging 10 to 15 sales per week, or 10 to 20 sales per week, or whatever it might be. Once you can start being like, oh, I'm pretty much going to guaranteed get this, then you can start looking at, okay, well then, now how do I scale up from there so I can make more sales, and then what's my money goal that I want to start making? And that's the point where I'm at. The point where I'm at is I can consistently get sales. So it's scaling what my inventory is, and then um kind of getting a better breakdown for what I do with that money when I get it back.
Get it? The industry of collectibles and even of
I want to be
Whoops. Over the past because of this whole career in business. And if you're motivating, flattened by your community that goes before starting. Step 2, study your collection. You're going to need to figure out what you're going to want to sell.
Oh,
but before you do that, you should understand what you like to collect. This feeds into the step.
So what he's saying here is, and I'm going to try to kind of make my parts a little bit quicker, but study your collection, or what he's saying here is, what do you like to collect? It's very simple. It's, what do you find the most interesting out of whatever like card game that you personally like to have in your own PC, or you maybe enjoy kind of buying and looking at, but you don't mind selling it off. You don't have to keep it yourself, or whatever else. Like, and that can also help you reach like your goals. Like, it's like, for me, my personal collection for like Pokemon is like the dark Pokemon cards, you know, Dark Gyarados, Dark Raichu. It's things like that. The Gym Challenge and Gym Heroes cards. I'm collecting every bug type card that's been made. The evolutions, you know, things like that. Like, those are like my personal collection stuff. So it's like I'm trying to reach a money goal that I could start slowly paying for things to go into my personal collection, but it's also the things that I know generally the most about, um, because it's what I care about the most, at least for Pokemon. That's different for every card game. But in this situation for Pokemon, um, for sports cards, like baseball, it's the O's. I like a lot of the rookies from the O's. So Colton Cowser and Jackson Holiday. Um, I like Jackson Churio from the Brewers and Jackson Merrill from the Padres. So I like to collect some of their rookies and stuff like that and have a PC of those that I could eventually maybe like sell later on. Yu-Gi-Oh! It's things from like the Legendary Collection series, Legendary Collection Joey, Kaiba, and Yugi. I like a lot of those cards. I like some of the vintage stuff of it, but I don't need to keep all of it. Magic the Gathering, it's just like the cool like art cards, or some of like the old school like dragon cards, like a lot of the Phyrexian stuff, things like that. So it's a good thing to kind of understand what you like to collect too. That also kind of help motivate you into doing the business.
Step one, passion part. Collect what you're passionate about. And what you already collect is
Correct.
probably a huge indicator of what you should focus on when you start your business. Also, a
That's
huge
what I
part
was
about the
saying.
Pokemon card and collectibles game is knowledge. The more you know about
And that's what I was saying too. I know a lot of knowledge in this area because of what I'm used to doing.
and one of the kind of and put them in your pad and build up your P. How much money do I need to start? And the answer is how much you have and are willing to use to start. I have friends who've
Correct.
started in this industry with like a couple $100 and over a couple of years have grown.
Budgeting, having a budget for this is not hard. I personally started off with very little for budgeting, but that's just because I already had cards that I could sell from purchases over the years. Some people, that might not be them. Some people, they might just be starting off for the very first time. It's like, hey, I have never been in this business before, but a lot of people are having fun with it and stuff like that. I want to try it to make a little bit of money or to see what it's all about. How do I do it? And what do I need to start? And I was actually going to do a video breakdown of this a while ago, and I'm still might now after making this video if people are interested. But it's a you have to understand how you're going to be selling, so what your budget is for that, and then do you already have a collection, or do you need to buy cards and figure out what you want to spend on that? Um, and then it's figuring out then things like storage and stuff like that. What type of money do you want to spend on being able to store your cards and preserve them and whatever else? And so, like, the first part being, like, how do you want to sell them? It's like, are you going to sell them through TCG Player or eBay or Facebook Marketplace or go to card shows? And that will vary on what you might need. For TCG Player, you need, like, material envelopes, top loaders, sleeves, bubble mailers, um, stamps, stuff like that. So you're going to need to have a small collection of that type of like material already, so that so that you don't run out and you actually have enough to kind of start. And I started off with a box of 40 envelopes. I started off with cheap Walmart printer paper, a roll of masking tape, and I already happened to have, no, I bought penny sleeves, I bought team bags, and I bought some top loaders, you know, off of Amazon. And that's what I used. And I would pay for stamps along the way. I'd use my own money that I had. I'd pay for stamps at the time, and then when I actually got money back from the cards I sold, I would just take that money I got back to buy more stamps and to buy more material. And then, but I already had personal collection stuff, so that's what I sold. But for you, it might be like, well, I'll go to Facebook Marketplace, or I'll go somewhere locally and I'll try to buy some bulk. Or maybe I'll buy a couple of boxes of steel products, see what I get, and just sell all of it. And that's up to kind of you, and how much you want to spend on that will vary. Bigger boxes of sealed product, it might be, $100 per box or $120 per box, and that's like a lot for some people. But you might be able to buy like a collection if you're like looking hard enough, for like $50, $60, and you can get some good stuff. You don't have to be all high end as long as you can sell it and then at least make a little bit of a profit off it, even if it's just 5 cents.
To multi-million dollar businesses. So you don't need worth being a little bit strategic and thinking about it. After all, when you're starting security and hustle these down, how much money am I willing to put into this? When I started Mystic Rips, how much collection am I willing to put into this? How much of my time am I willing to put into this? When I started Mystic Rips, I had to stop and I dumped at Pokemon Go, this new business, hard industry with a. Now we're starting to get into it.
I spend about 10 hours a week, 10 to 15 hours a week, depending on the week. So that could vary per person and what you want to allocate that time to. So I spend usually a couple of hours going through my collection and pricing more stuff, and then I spend a couple hours actually getting all the orders together, and I maybe spend about an hour at most a week shipping things out because I live right by my post office. So
you want to focus on one specific category. Is it vintage? Is it Japanese? Is it modern?
So this is a pretty good breakdown to kind of like look at here of a bunch of different niches that you could be into. And this is not just specifically, like I said, for Pokemon. This can fall into a category for a lot of different card games. For me personally, I'm singles. I am low end singles. Usually a lot of bulk stuff, and I'll either happen to find cards that are in like the $2, $3, $4 range from collections I buy, or from packs that I open up here and there, and stuff like that, And this will also determine what your starting budget is, where you can actually go into this. I like the thought of doing vintage for some things, but vintage is just a different market that I just don't know nearly enough about, as I do like the singles market and like more modern stuff for the games that are going on. Graded slabs, I'm starting to get into a little bit more, as long as I can find good eBay deals, in which I could flip them. Because like the biggest thing, and he does talk about this, is you have to just be able to turn a profit on whatever you get. Whatever you buy, however much money you put into it, you just have to make sure that you can turn a profit on it. If I'm going to buy a collection of, say, 100 cards, and it's $20 to buy all 100 of them, that makes each card like 5 cents a piece, if I'm doing my math correct there. Which that means you have to be able to sell. Say you do like maybe then end up selling each of those cards for 10 cents a piece. That's a 5-cent profit, as long as you're staying good with your shipping margins and stuff like that, because that's very important as well. So there's like definitely a lot that goes into it, but picking your niche is very important, and make sure you pick a niche that you are going to care a lot about, because that'll help kickstart your business, and then you can start slowly kind of delving into the other niches. Like I started off in singles, but now I'm starting to slowly move out to like graded slabs.
What do you in slab shop in Japan? The same seller, building a reputation, and therefore figure out where. Where do you want to sell? To figure this out, you should answer a couple of questions, and again, write these down. I'm a huge note taker. I use the system Notion. My entire life is on Notion. I write everything down and note take everything. Okay, so here's a couple key things. Do you want to travel and go to conventions?
Okay.
Does streaming live in front of an audience sound fun? Are you really good at paid advertisements and getting website clicks? Do you like TikTok? What are you most interested in? What are you good at? What are you bad at? Wherever you pick to sell, you're going to want to stick there for really as long as you can to build up a reputation and build up customers. So you want to make...
Okay. So that's a where like so for me personally, I started selling on TCG Player. It was the most convenient for me. I'm married. I work two jobs. I don't have a license or a car. And so for me, what made the most sense was TCG Player. It was a convenient, it's quick and convenient to post your cards in there. The prices are already there. You post your stuff, you get it in order, you make it up, you send it out. It's super quick and easy and simple. You do have to worry about things like fees, which honestly aren't that terrible. Um, and like shipping costs, just understanding how much you actually want to ship your cards for. I lost out on money pretty early on because I refused to increase my shipping cost until my hand was forced with the increase of like materials. I was sticking at a 99-cent shipping cost because like, well, I'll sell more cards this way and stuff like that is what I figured. And maybe I did, maybe I didn't, but there is nothing wrong with having an increased shipping cost if it just makes the most sense for you. I think right now TCG players like where they start everybody off at is now like $1.27 or something like that. You could go lower, you could go higher. So right now I'm at $1.27 too, like everybody else, or like a lot of other people are. But if it's in my best interest to even go up to like $1.30, then maybe I'll go up to $1.30. If it just means that for what I'm averaging like selling, I'm going to make either just a little bit more money or I'm going to be able to break through that threshold. Um, but for I also did a little bit on Facebook Marketplace, just trying to get people in my local area. And I've done some okay sales on there, and that you have a choice. You could just do local meetup or pickup or whatever else, and you don't have to worry about material cost or shipping fees or anything like that, or things getting lost or damaged in the mail. And it's quick and easy. You got the cash in hand, and you're all set. That's probably the best way to make a profit margin on things. Like my example beforehand, you buy the 100 cards, you sell them off for 5 cents a piece, or like they're each worth 5 cents. Now you can sell them off for 10 cents, but now you're not losing any of that money in the 10 cents. That's just all profit. So now you sell all 100 of these cards at 10 cents a piece, and now you've just made whatever it is. My math might be off there. I am terribly sorry. I am very exhausted. Let me just do it real fast. Yeah. Is that right? I'm sorry. Well, my math might be a little off there. Let's do a better example because I think I just butchered my math. You buy a collection of 50 card. You buy a collection of 50 cards. Um, and say you bought it for $25. That means it's 50 cents a piece on those cards, and now you can flip them for $1, and now you've just made $50. You know, so now you've doubled your money from the 25 that you originally spent, and whatever else. So there is that aspect. Maybe you have enough money to start and you can do a brick and mortar location. If you can do that, freaking fantastic. Um, do that. I would like to do that in my area. There's not a lot in my area for certain things. Um, we have space for like Pokemon and all that, but we're really lacking in an area for like sports cards. And so it could really be in my interest in which I could set up a sports card shop in my area that just also has other card games to it, you know? So it is very important, but like another thing is things like Whatnot. Do you want to stream and sell things on Whatnot? It can be a very profitable thing if you're good at it, if you can get a following, if you can be a charismatic, likable person through your streams, or if you can get good deals and things like that, or through TikTok or whatever. There's so many different ways now to sell. It's just basically finding what suits best for your personality and maybe what you have. Like, I wouldn't want to sell bulk singles on Whatnot that are 5 cents each because it's just not worth my time to do that. But if I had like a bunch of sports cards that were like a base $1 and I could sell them for $1 plus whatever shipping costs and stuff like that, then I would much rather do that. And you could just set up for like an hour and try to get through like 50, 60 cards or something like that. And maybe you sell a third of them. Maybe you try to post, you go through 60 cards, you sell 20 of them, but then you could have just gained, 20 new followers or people who are going to come back. And then you just kind of take requests for what they want to see and try to get those types of things and whatever else. I think Whatnot could be a very good way to make money. And they even had a deal when I first started that like they'd match what I made upwards to like 250 bucks, like 100 bucks or something like that. I can't remember. And I just never went through with it enough, and now I lost out on that opportunity. It's just what it is. But there are so many important things. It's just trying to figure out what works best for you based off of your situation, but also what makes sense to you financially.
Make sure that content creation channel. Product. Step 6, start selling. The best way to learn is through experience, and that is no different in the world.
I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I've already started talking about this, but yes, once you have figured out everything, once all this beforehand was just the initial idea. It's like when you're done watching this video, if you want to do this, or even along the way while making the video, is you should start bulleting out your own personal ideas. You know, what is your reason? Um, what is your reason and what's your goal? What do you want? Like, what do you personally like to do? Like, what are you most adverse in and would like to spend the most amount of time in? And then what you would like to sell, and then figure out where you want to set up and start setting up your inventory or getting things set up for where you want to sell. I posted like 500 cards on TCG Player first before I even made my inventory go live. So I made sure I had enough product on there for people to see in which I could have better sales. Maybe you don't have that much. Maybe you only have 100 cards. Post all 100 of them. Or for Whatnot, you get your setup done. You got a box of cards and you figure out whatever you price you want to sell us at. If you're okay with just doing dollar auctions on everything, then great. Do the dollar auctions on everything. Get your account all set up. Get whatever mic or camera lighting you need and stuff like that, and then just go for it. Eventually, it will just work out. I was nervous to start. I maybe didn't sell anything like my first week that I had stuff posted. And then it was just a very slow snowball effect. I went from selling like nothing to selling like one or two cards, and the excitement I got when I first started selling was insane. And then it just started to slowly snowball, in which now I'm consistently hitting like 10 to 15 sales a week. There was like a month there in which I was doing like 20 to 25 sales a week, and it was great. So it's once you start selling, the rest just kind of works out from there. It just does. but it's just about taking the initial step.
Everywhere that it is born there and get experience. The collectible, how much you can sell them, who to try. There are the buyers sales channel that you chose. There are so many different metas and different, for example, you have video, pretty cool thing where I'm coming together to like are how to like, feel free to like all of these sales. Don't like lose money or make. All you have to do is just buy something and then sell it for more than you bought. So that's all you have to get good at. There's all sorts of strategies. The thing here is study your field. The best way to get better is by studying people who are better. This has been one of my personal keys to
this
success
is what
for
I'm doing
YouTube,
kind of
social
now,
media, e-commerce.
in which, what the point of this video is and why I watch it in the first place is I'm looking at what this guy is doing, what's worked for this guy, the knowledge that he's collected over the years, so then I could do better at what I'm doing. But it's a two-parter. It's what is the people in your community doing that you enjoy, and then actually understanding your niche too. So it's like in this case for Pokemon, it's say if your niche for Pokemon is like modern singles, then you need to understand if that's your niche, then is it doing well in the actual card game? You know, a new sets are coming out. It's like, how are these cards performing competitively? Because those are the cards you're going to want to buy and get the most of, because there's what's going to make you the most money and what you're going to be able to flip the fastest. Or it's what cards are people liking to collect the most. It's, maybe a new Pikachu is coming out in a set and it's going to be like a nice high-end one. People are going to want to get that Pikachu, so you're going to want to try to get your hands on it. And whatever else. For vintage, that's another big thing. It's understanding what type of vintage cards people tend to like the most, and also good condition. Trying to find vintage cards in good condition, because then you'll be able to do better on those sales, and people are more likely to buy it if it looks nice, because usually for people's personal collections and stuff like that. So it is a two-parter. So like that's like the understanding the actual game that you're in. Like the biggest thing I'm learning right now for sports cards is understanding the players, how good the players are, especially the rookies. So I know who are good rookies for me to collect and invest my money into, and who are rookies that like I might pick up a couple cards here and there. Or if I pull on a product, it'd be okay, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time or a lot of money on them. And then I've been talking to people and whatnot about the industry, and letting them tell me, this player's been doing really well, so those are good cards to collect, or like this has been like a really good rookie and he'll probably do well in the future, so collect them. Or like watching Pac-Man videos, the way that he does his content, and also the type of players that he talks about highly of, and who he likes to collect. Um, in the Pokemon stuff, what ways are people what are ways that are people are finding are better to sell? Mystery packs are very high selling items. Can you build a mystery pack to sell to people and stuff like that? And whatever else, and what has worked the best for other people. That's what I'm saying here is you can learn from me and what's worked best from me. And I'm always open for questions. If you want to DM me anything or leave a comment, I will answer anything, either directly to you, or if you want, I'll make a full video on it. It doesn't matter to me as long as it helps everybody else out, because it is a it's a wonderful business that a lot of people should be into, even if it's on like part-time or just because.
Everything I'm going to ask platform like sellers. No, the most learn why they use. If people important to have friends in this industry create content. Now that you're on your way to creating and optimizing your sales channels and your business and your product, you're going to want to start attracting customers. And there's no better way to do that in today's world than with content, which is what I specialize in. Because
content, baby, content. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm making content. I have TikToks. I have multiple TikTok pages. I have multiple YouTube channels. I have multiple Instagrams for each different niche and things like that. Things that I care a lot about. Um, they don't always. I'm not the best at it, and I don't keep up with enough consistency for it, and that's just more hurtful on my end than anything. But it's still, I'm still actively doing it, and I'm still trying. And content in this day and age is the best thing you can do for yourself. It's how you're going to grow, it's how people are going to see you. It's not, we don't live in the old fashioned word of mouth is like the only way, or like newspaper advertisements are the only way anymore. It's just not the case. What we live in now is content, it's social media, it's having people stumble across the things that you're making, um and finding you through those means, whether it's exciting videos on things that you've pulled or things that you've bought or whatever else it might be. It's that stuff is so important in such a content heavy world. And it's also trying to figure out what content works best for you. If you're really good at short form stuff, then just do TikToks and YouTube shorts. If you like to do the long form content and you think you could edit it and make it look good and entertaining, then do that. Or even if you don't think you could do it, it's still good just to do it, and maybe somebody will like your style and will stick around. Synergy, I don't. Ooh, my recording stopped
Ask
somehow.
yourself, how can you
So
take
my recording just stopped, so I don't know what part of that section got recorded or not. But he's talking about synergy is step 9, and it's basically mixing your different avenues together. There he's discussing, in case it wasn't recorded, he was discussing his friend who owns a business, like a brick and mortar store, but then he like buys collections from people and then he auctions them off on whatnot and has them in the store and stuff like that. So that's like using multiple avenues to grow. And it's what I'm starting to slowly do, in which I am buying collections from people, and I'll, post them on TCG Player and eBay and stuff like that. But then I'll make content with them, you know, and then, or I'll buy products from people who follow me and stuff like that, and whatever else. And so then you can kind of like help grow community that way. And yeah, so synergy is just trying to figure out like your linear line of, this is where I'm going to start at, but then how am I going to start slowly incorporating different aspects into it.
one aspect of your business or your operation that you can use to create an entirely new business or sell a bunch of single and his advertising if you're interested. Step 10, focus on scaling. This is the final.
Oh, he messed up. It says step 1. Uh-oh. But no, step 10, scaling. He really, he really means in business. And what he goes and talks about in this section is, once you kind of get to a point in which you can afford to pay somebody to help you, doing so and taking some of the workload off of you. So it's, once you know that you're doing well as a one-man operation and you're making good money and what you can scale up and make it a 2 or 3 person operation, then do so, but don't overexhaust it. Make sure that you actually have the money to do so and just slowly do it. In which it's like the biggest things is having people help you package orders, or if you're in the content space, having people edit your content. Well, those are like the 2 biggest things that you spend so much time on, but you're not getting a lot of money. You're not getting any money out of doing it, you know, in which like the actual posting of the content, you could make money off of it, or you could at least grow a following from it and have people attracted to your store or whatever else. And then like going out and buying product and stuff like that, you know, like you can then saves you room to kind of do the things that are most important for the business itself to keep flowing. Scaling, I think it's a good topic to definitely talk about in this video, and I'm glad it's like last in this video, but I think it's not the most important for a lot of people. Um, because anybody who's really starting off, they could either never see scaling, or if they do, it would be years down the line, in which then at that point in time you'd probably turn around and look into how to scale then. So that's where I'm at. I'm so far off from scaling, it's not even funny. I don't even have all of my cards posted yet, so I gotta focus way more on getting everything I own actually posted and fully organized out properly, and getting consistency in scales before I can even consider ever um hiring anybody to help out even in the smallest way. So that's kind of my viewpoint on everything, guys. This was a long video. I do apologize for that. But I found it to be very important. I really wanted to talk a lot about my pieces of it. So I hope you enjoyed this, and please go watch the original video. It's A, much shorter, and B, you can kind of get all of what he's kind of talking about and his different little anecdotes and stuff like that you might find helpful versus just my own. And I will leave a link to it in the description, hopefully. If not, you see the title of the video, you see the guy, just go take a look at his stuff and whatever else. So hope you guys enjoyed. If there's any other content you'd like to see me make, then let me know down below in the comments, and I will do my best to make it. And yeah, so I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.